Not so long ago, I used to be quite shy and didn't want to talk to anyone. In fact, a better phrase would be that I could not talk to anyone because of anxiety and nervousness. But because of my reading habit, I read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And since then, I have been able to talk to anyone and everyone that I want to talk to and form actual meaningful conversations where the other person actually enjoys talking to me and was quite happy that I talked to them. So, and if this sounds like something that you would want to accomplish, then please keep watching. The first thing that you need to do is that make the conversation about the other person, not you. Like, instead of telling, oh, I like this, I like that, I like to do this, I like to do that, ask other person. Like, what do you like to do? What is his preference? What does he like to eat? What does he like to do in his free time? What is his hobby, or what does he like to read if he does read books? What does he like to watch on YouTube? Or whom does he follow? Whom does he admire? Like, make the question about the other person. And only when the other person asks you that, okay, what is it for you, only then answer. Don't just go about saying, oh, I like this, I like that. This is something that most people misunderstand, is that everyone likes talking about themselves and that is why people are inclined to talk about themselves. And that is exactly why if you make the conversation about the other person will like you, because people want to talk about themselves, because people want to feel important and like nice. We all know that, right? So by default, everyone wants to talk about themselves, and that is why in conversation what happens is that people start talking about themselves. But if you just make the conversation about the other person, then the first thing is that he's talking about himself and you're also talking about himself, so he feels good. And if he feels good talking to you, then of course he'll enjoy the conversation and it will be a very good conversation and you'll not feel shy. The second thing that you need, and I think you might already know that, is that listening is 10 times overpowered than speaking. You need to listen 10 times more than you speak, because firstly it will give you a lot of details about the other person that might come handy sometimes later. And second thing is that if you just listen more, there are a lot of things that you might not be knowing and you'll actually learn, because you never know what the other person might say that you don't know. So listening is always greater than speaking. Keep that in mind. Even if you have a lot to say, just let the other person finish and just listen, and try to make the conversation more about you listening and the other person speaking. Like that, you get two benefits. Firstly, the other person gets to speak, and if someone gets to speak in a conversation more, the person feels as if they are the important one, they are the one who with more wisdom and more sophistication, so they feel good. And secondly, even if they are not the one, then you get a good relationship if you really want to talk to them, right? So it works like that. Third thing that I would like to mention is that say thank you. It really makes a difference. Thank you as in, like, let's say when you buy something or when you go to a shop or something and get something, just say thank you. It makes a difference. I've done it. I have seen the difference before not doing it, before doing it. After doing it, the other person always remembers me. The one thing that happened is that whenever I buy from that person and I have said thank you, the other person seems to always remember me. And next time when I come to their shop, they always greet me and with a smile on their face, and that makes a very big difference, you know. The fourth thing is that don't use phone or look anywhere else while talking to them. Just look straight in their eyes. This thing makes so much of a difference, because if you look elsewhere, if you look down your phone, it feels disrespected. Just imagine that I'm talking to you right now, right? I'm talking to you and I start looking to my phone and I start talking to you like that. How will you feel? You'll feel as if your attention is not valued. Same thing happens in any conversation. If you start looking somewhere else, if you start looking at your phone, and that is why you'll see that if you go to meet someone and they start go on their phone and they're talking like that, you feel bad, you feel disrespected. And that's what happens with anyone. So you have to make sure that you don't do that. Of course, in some scenarios, it might happen, it has happened with me as well, that there might come two people who want to talk to you. So in that case, address the person who came first and initiate the conversation first and then reply to the second. No one minds like that. But if you do other way, you can even do it other way, but I guess a more fair way to do it is that the person who came first and talked first, just answer them firstly. And the most important thing is that if you don't want to talk, if you're not interested, just don't talk, don't force it, because silence is always better than just shallow words. And mostly people don't enjoy small talk. They will pretend to, but the thing is, deep inside, no one really enjoys small talk. Sometimes it might be necessary, that is alright, but in most cases, if you just have small talk to talk about and it's not something that you would want to use as a initiator for a bigger conversation, then don't just talk, because it will not make any difference. Another thing that is literally a hack is that use what they have said previously in the conversation. It makes them feel heard. Now what I mean by that is that, let's say the other person says, okay, I like chocolate. Okay, and you ask, okay, which chocolate do you like? And the person says, okay, I like Cadbury Dairy Milk. Then just try to talk things about Cadbury Dairy Milk. Alright, like let's say, okay, Cadbury Dairy Milk runs very good advertisements, or Cadbury Dairy Milk has good taste. Make things, don't fake it, of course. If you don't like it, then don't fake it. I'm not saying to fake it, but just try to make the conversation surrounding that, because that makes it feel as if the person is being heard. And if someone is being heard, like let's say if I told you something, or no, let's say like if you go in a conversation and you said something and the other person makes the conversation about that, how will you feel? You'll feel good, right? So there's a very good saying that do unto others as you wish were done unto you. Now, if you need help and you want to talk to someone, then use please. It makes a shit ton of difference, because it makes the other person feel important and it makes the other person feel above you. Whereas if you just go, oh, can you tell me how to do this? Can you please tell me how to do this? Alright, there's a big difference in how the person feels. And the thing is, everything comes and boils down to how the person feels while talking to you. If the person feels good, he'll enjoy the conversation, he'll remember you, and he'll want to talk to you more. And he'll want to help you as well eventually. But if the other person does not feel good, does not feel that he's above you, then he will not feel good. Because everyone wants to feel above and everyone wants to feel good. Alright, this is the core philosophy of forming good conversations that I learned from how to influence people. And that is that you have to make the other person feel important, and you have to make the other person feel as if they're better than you, as if they're better than anyone else, and as if they're the center of the universe. If you can do that, then people will remember you, people will enjoy forming conversation. Now, it doesn't have to be faked, it doesn't have to be anything, or like just don't fake it, but take their genuinely good qualities and praise them for that. Use them to make them feel good, make them feel better, make them feel as if they are the best. If you can do that, if you can make them feel good and important and heard, they will form good conversations. You will never have any problem talking to anyone, and people will remember you and want to talk to you. And another thing is that this is something that most people are like seem to completely overlook, is that if you disagree with something that someone has said, just don't say it. If you don't want your relationship to get ruined, just don't say it. Because the thing is, even if the other person is factually wrong, objectively wrong, and you are objectively correct, and the other person has to change his or her opinion, in most cases they don't enjoy that. Alright, yeah, there are some very good people who are not that attached to their ego and their opinions and everything, but 90%, or in fact 95 or 99% of the people, they are very attached to their opinions and their egos. And if they have to change their opinion, they feel hurt, they feel bad, because their ego has been hurt. Alright, and that is why if you disagree with something, just don't say it. Even if they're objectively wrong, it doesn't matter if that how your relationship stays with them, then that's fine. But or in case that you feel like there's someone who can handle it, then of course say it. But if they don't seem like either of those, then don't say it. Because they will all not feel good. If you're not able to handle it yourself, then I would recommend not doing it. Like let's say you go to a conversation and you're objectively wrong and you had to change that fact, you didn't feel good, right? Another thing is that if you want to help someone, then wait for the time till they ask for help. It does not have to be necessarily from you, it can be from anyone, but wait till they ask for help. Because if you just go out helping without them asking for help, it feels a bit rude. Like I cannot explain it in exact words, but just imagine yourself, you are trying to do something, you're trying to do it, you have not even half a help, someone comes around saying, oh, this is how you do it. You'll feel bad, right? You feel as if you're being considered, average or like poor, or you're being considered incompetent. No one wants to feel incompetent and no one wants to feel bad. Lastly, don't just try to communicate or form conversations just for the sake of talking. Yeah, if you want to build up your confidence in the beginning, that's completely alright. But later on, don't just talk for the sake of talking. And with that being said, I'll see you soon.